Welcome everyone. We will start in a few minutes. Good afternoon everyone. Welcome to today's session. Today's session is regarding our turn of the month report, and we'll discuss how you can utilize and take advantage of this report. With us today are Karan Pai. He is a research analyst, and we also have Mr. Ashish Shetty, who is a chief manager research. So during the course of the session, anybody who have any questions can put
In
their
the
question.
chat in the WebEx, those who are attending on WebEx, and those who are attending through YouTube Live, they can put their questions in the chat on YouTube Live. We will take your questions and we will be happy to answer them. So over to you, Karan Pai and
Ashish, let's start the session.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out and joining the session. As if you have attended the session webinar last week, these reports that are coming out, the turn of the month, as we say, is a part of the educating the investor drive by Axis Securities, wherein we go through tons of data. These are more data-driven insights of different markets, for you to have a greater level of information, and based on which you could drive your decisions, right? Karan, if you could come to the second slide, or if you come to the third slide, the next slide, yeah. So what we see here is, okay, this report that we're talking about is the turn of the month report. Okay. The idea behind this is to check the performance of the 12 important sectors in Nifty, in NSE, 12 important sectors of NSE, and to see what has been their performance. I'm sorry about it. So start that the duration will be starting from 1 day prior to the turn of the month. Okay. So let's say July, the turn of the month was 31st of July, right? So what happens to the different sectors in NSE if it is the returns are checked from the 30th of July to 5 days after the turn of the month, that is to the 5th of August. So this is the whole rationale behind the report that is being generated. It's a 6-day return that is being checked into 1 day prior to the turn of the month and 5 days after the turn of the month, right? So it's a 6-day period of returns, and turn of the month would be the last day of that month. Now, what we have seen is these are the 12 sectors that majorly affect the performance of the index as a whole, or the performance of NSE as a whole. Okay, covers majorly of the stocks that are there, which are traded quite often. The rationale behind this is we are looking into 10 years of data. Okay, we're looking back into 10 years of data. Then, and we're trying to find out if there is certain seasonality or cyclicality with respect to certain months and certain sectors. We're trying to find out if there's certain patterns which can be found out. Okay, if the patterns are repeating over a period of years, we could assume that the same thing might continue, or rather, I could say we could see that there is a probability of that same cyclicality or seasonality continuing as per what the history has been showing us. Right, so that is the whole rationale behind this. The report that comes across, or the bulletin that comes across, which shows the performance of the different sectors, is put up as a tree map, a heat map actually. Yeah, you see there are different boxes of different sizes, different colors, different numeration, notations, and everything. All this would be taken up by my colleague Karan. Karan, why don't you take up the information sector, please? Section, please.
Yeah. So thank you, Ashish. First of all, I want to confirm that I am audible and my screen is visible. Just put in the chat box. Guys, okay. So I'll go ahead and सबसे पहले तो गुड इवनिंग, आप लोग सब लोगों ने टाइम निकाला हमारे लिए, थैंक यू. सो हमारा ये जो सीरीज है जो हम लोगों ने नए रिपोर्ट्स लॉन्च किए हैं, सो वी आर एक्सप्लोरिंग अनदर report that we have released over a period of time. So this is called the turn of the month. And जैसे आशीष ने बोला कि एवरी प्राइस एक्शन जो है उसमें एक सॉर्ट ऑफ एक सीजनैलिटी होती है. जैसे हम लोग वीकली में एक सीजनैलिटी ढूंढ रहे थे, सिमिलरली इसमें भी हम लोग एक सीजनैलिटी ही देख रहे हैं. सो इसमें अगर आप देखो तो जस्ट लाइक द वीकली रिपोर्ट, वी आर लुकिंग एट द प्राइस एक्शन ऑफ द पास्ट 10 years. And just like the weekly report, we have the weekly win percentage, best, worst, average. And plot अगर आप इसको देखेंगे, that is also actually very similar to what we do in the weekly report. The only difference is, जो एक difference है, ये जो data है ये हम लोग बनाते हैं month end. For example, last month को अगर आप देखोगे, July 31st was the last working day. So तभी historically 10 साल में around July 31st, how has each of the 12 sectors performed? That is what we are trying to look at it. नाउ इफ यू अगर आपको ये रिपोर्ट थोड़ा डिटेल में समझना है, हम लोगों ने नीचे वैल्यूज डाले हुए हैं, नॉट एग्जैक्टली वैल्यूज, द डिस्क्रिप्शन जो लिखा हुआ है, अगर आप कलर देखोगे तो डार्क ग्रीन या डार्क रेड इज एन इफेक्ट ऑफ वेदर द रिटर्न्स हैव बीन पॉजिटिव, एवरेज रिटर्न्स हैव बीन वेरी पॉजिटिव और वेरी नेगेटिव. एंड ब्लॉक साइज जो है दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन द विन परसेंटेज. सो अगर यहाँ पर मैं ऑटो की अगर मैं बात करूं, सो जब भी हम लोगों ने रिपोर्ट बनाया था, दैट वाज ऑन द लास्ट वर्किंग डे ऑफ जुलाई. 10 साल पीछे का जब भी हम लोग डेटा लेते हैं, एंड देन व्हेन वी क्रंच द डेटा, वी फाउंड दैट 80% ऑफ द टाइम, 5 days after the first working day of August, it always has given a positive. 80% of the time it has given positive returns. And out of that 80% of the time, best returns जो था वो 4.7% था, एंड वर्स्ट रिटर्न जो है आपका नेगेटिव 2.3% है. एंड अगर आप बेस्ट वर्स्ट सबका अगर आप एवरेज भी लो तो इट हैज बीन 1.5%. So we have done the same data crunching for all the 12 sectors, and that is how we have come up with this report. बेसिक क्रक्स इसका एक ही है कि प्राइसेस में देयर इज अ सीजनैलिटी, एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू कैप्चर दैट. मतलब हाउ हैज द इंडेक्स परफॉर्म्ड whenever there is a change in the month, मतलब at the month end से लेके the next 5 working days कैसे परफॉर्म करता है पर्टिकुलर सेक्टर. दैट इज व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू कैप्चर हियर. आशीष, डू यू वांट टू ऐड समथिंग टू इट?
No, Karan, I think you're going fine. So, as Karan said, basically what we are trying to find out is if there is a seasonality to the market. So, there are a lot of moving parts into the market for one to trade, okay, or invest as such. So, the idea is to give you all better patterns or better data, better information, so that you can have an idea as to which sector could probably perform in the month of August or in the month of September. And as Karan said, this is again a probability, okay, with a higher win percentage. So you could look into sectors which have a higher win percentage. So let's say we assume that if something has been performing consistently over the last 10 years, there are very high chances of it to performance in the future as well. And that's the whole idea behind this report. So give you an idea, as Karan mentioned, auto sector was one of the top sectors when we did it around the July and the month end of July. That's starting from 30th of July to 5 days forward, 6 days, 5 days forward from the turn of the month. auto sector was seen to be having the best performance. So 80% of the time in the last 10 years, so that is 8 out of 10 years, auto sector always had a positive return, right? With the best return being about 4.7%, that is the total of that's the best return. So highest return any particular year, and the worst return, that is the two occasions when it has failed, when it has performed negatively, the negative performance has been minus 2.3%. If you take an average of the returns of over last 10 years, it is 1.5%. That's it for auto sector. Similarly, if I see the worst performing sector, okay, if you see the biggest trend out here, I would say is the reality sector. Now, reality sector shows that the performance has just been 40%. That means out of the last 10 years, okay, this data is starting from 2014 up to 2023. So 10 years, including the start first and the last year as well, right? So if you see reality is just 40% as a win ratio, that means 6 out of the last 10 years, it has given negative returns. Would anyone want to look into a sector which has not performed well in a particular period in the last 10 years? That's a decision up to an individual. We are here to provide you the information. How to read the information, that's the whole idea about this particular webinar that we are conducting. Right? Karan, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, so as we mentioned that this report comes up the last month of, the last day of the current month. So you can expect the current report to be out somewhere around, 30th or 31st of August. So now the upcoming report will actually show the data, how, it has performed for the around the 1st of October. So obviously, just अगर आपको कुछ अंडरस्टैंडिंग में वगैरह कुछ, I hope we are correct with the, I hope we are clear with the concept of the turn of the month, because we are looking at how the particular indices have performed around the 1st of every month. So अगर मैं ये रिपोर्ट अगस्त 30th को या 31st को रिलीज कर रहा हूँ, I am looking at the performance of how all the 12 sectors have done around 1st of October. ये रिपोर्ट जो आया था, अगर आप ऊपर जाके इसमें डेट देखोगे, दैट इज 31st of July, एंड वी होप दैट यू ऑल हैव रिसीव्ड दिस रिपोर्ट. सो ये 31st of July को अगर पब्लिश हो रहा है, वी आर लुकिंग एट हाउ द 12 NSE indices have performed around the 1st of August. So इसीलिए उसको turn of the month बोलते हैं, because it is basically a change of the month. So we are looking at seasonality whenever the month changes from one month to next month. So now around 30th or 31st of August, we'll be coming out with the turn of the month, but that will be for the 1st of October. So that was the brief about the report, what the report is, what it can explain. Now, Aditya, can we move on to the Q&A session?
Just to add before the Q&A session. Now, you all might be thinking, why turn of the month? So turn of the month, there is a reason behind it, but this is, we try to get up with different probabilities or possibilities that could affect the market. Now, turn of the month, there could be profit booking, rollovers from futures. So a lot of events falling towards the turn of the month. The idea behind this was to see if any such events, which is regular, which has a regularity over a period of time, does that affect the next month's performance? Karan, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So I believe this is the whole idea behind it, and we strongly at Access Research, the research team strongly believes that data, if looked into properly, would give you a lot of insights to help you make better decisions. And as we say that this is a part of the continuing the investor education program that Access has come up with, and you could look forward to more such data-driven reports over a period of time. So this is from my side, and if Karan, there's nothing from your side,
Yeah.
Aditya, why don't we open up for question and answers, guys? To avoid confusion, we would not be able to attend questions as a question over a mic or something. You could actually type in your questions on the chat. This is to avoid confusion of a lot of people speaking at the same time and we landing up nowhere. Please bear with us on this, and please type in your questions.
So guys, one thing जो हम लोग हमेशा emphasize करते हैं कि if you are lost at any point of time, please put your queries in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to go over all the concepts again and again. But अगर आप में confusion है तो ये जो हमारा efforts है that will not be delivered well. So please make sure that all are I mean if you have any query, put it in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to clarify it for you. जो हम लोग हमेशा emphasize करते हैं कि
Sorry about that.
yeah. So please put in the queries in your chat in the chat box. If you have not gone through the report, Aditya has just pasted the link in the chat. Just open the link, download the report. अगर आपको कुछ उसमें query है, आपको कुछ you know पूछना है कि what does particular thing mean, then feel free to ask us. We'll be more than happy to help you out with it. Okay, so one query that majority of the people have had is why take data of the past 10 years. So एक बात मैं इसमें बोलना चाहता हूँ कि अगर आप देखो from 2013 और से 2014 का 14 से आप events अगर आप देखोगे, the market has practically seen everything that one could expect. There was a pandemic, कोविड था तो उसका जो फॉल है राइज है अराउंड दैट टाइम वो हम लोगों ने देखा. देन देयर वर वॉर्स जो मार्केट ने विटनेस किया. एंड देन देयर वर लोकल एज वेल एज ग्लोबल इलेक्शंस एज इन यूएस के इलेक्शंस, इंडिया के अपने इलेक्शंस, वो सब एक फेस जो है मार्केट ने देख लिया इसमें in this particular time period. So that is why we stick to the 10-year data, because it has gone, it has the market has witnessed many things over this 10 years. So that is one of the reasons of selecting the data for the past 10 years. And other thing is, if we dig too deep into the data, it will be confusing and might lead to something called as analysis paralysis. So we don't want that analysis paralysis situation. And because the past 10 years data is giving us decent enough insight, we have opted for we have opted to analyze the data of the past 10 years.
Guys, be open for another 5 minutes, 2 minutes as a matter of fact. If there are no questions, we would want to end the session. If you have any questions, please post now. So, if I could jump into this, Karan. So, Aditya, if you see here, we have sectors which are very positive, we have sectors which are very negative, right? And you are invested in a particular sector. If you're planning to make fresh investments, okay, or you are holding some investments now based on your type or your style of investing. Okay, so there would be two investors. One would be a trend follower, one would be a contra trend trader. Right, a trend follower could pick up the best sectors and continue investing into that for that particular month. And maybe somebody who likes to trade contrary could pick up some sectors which are not performing well, considering that they might outperform in the coming month, and accordingly they could get into those sectors, right? So the utility of this report is to understand as to how the markets have been performing year on year over the last 10 years. And based on that, you could have this. So this is not I would not say this report is not a hardcore enter exit kind of thing. This report is more of a roadmap. Okay, you want to walk the distance, you want to reach a destination. We try to provide you with a map Okay, that could help you navigate your journey clearly towards your destination. Right? Karan, would you like to add anything?
No. या सो आशीष ने जैसे कहा कि ये जो है ये आपको एक रास्ता दिखाएगा कि क्या हिस्टोरिकली व्हाट क्या रहा है प्राइस एक्शन या मूवमेंट जो है एक पर्टिकुलर सेक्टर में कैसे रहा है. करेक्ट. सो जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि अगर आपके पास अगर आप एक मोमेंटम ट्रेडर हो या एक कॉन्ट्ररी ट्रेडर हो, ये आपको डिसाइड करना है एंड देन these data points will help you reinforce your decisions. So over to you, Aditya.
So Kailash, I see there's a comment from you. You're asking you want to select any stock from any sector. How can how can you select the stock by using these reports? As I just mentioned a couple of minutes back, it's up to your trading investment. Okay, what I can say is this report says what has been the performance year on year over the last 10 years. Right? So it's up to you then to decide as to what stocks would you want to get into. You know the strengths of each sector out here. You know what is the probability of which sector performing in what manner in the upcoming 6 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever it is. And then based on your this outlook, you could enter these stocks, right? Which particular stocks, what particular stocks, we would not be in a position to tell that. Two reasons. One is we are not entitled to say that. Second, there are compliance things, and this is beyond the scope of this particular webinar. Yes, in future we will be coming up with more such webinars which would educate you and empower you to take your decisions as to what stocks could be selected, what not to be selected. But that would eventually come. In this webinar, we would not be able to cover that. Right. So surely, Aditya. See, what I say, this would not be construed as a trading strategy or anything as such. Okay, I'm putting it very clear out here. What I am saying is purely my views, and the idea behind this development. That's to educate you purely for educational purposes. Please, I request all of you listeners and investors, please do not take what I'm saying as a trading strategy or as a buy sell strategy or buy sell recommendation. These are not recommendations, these are not strategies. These are just explaining you one of the ways as to what could be how you could read these reports. Okay. One of the ways, if I was here, I would say, okay, the best performing sector has been auto sector. And so let's say I pick up the top 5 sectors, right? So the top 5 sectors are auto, IT, energy, pharma. Okay. Top 5 sectors. I have the moving averages report coming out here week on week. In the moving averages, let's say I am a momentum investor. I like to invest only with the trend. Okay. Where I would do is like I say in these top 5 sectors, whenever one of these top sectors comes in the top performing or top market breadth as per the moving averages, which means the monthly report is showing me the strength, the moving average breadth is also showing me strength. Why don't I get into this particular sector? That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it, I choose the top 5 sectors out here. Okay, I choose the top 5 sectors out here, and I say of these 5 sectors, whenever I get a particular sector which is in weakness right now, as per the moving average breadth report, it is in weakness, and the moment it gets into strength within this month, I will get into that sector. So there are different ways out of it. So what you could do is like you could see the sectors which are performing, see the moving averages which are giving you, which are confirming your bias of the same sectors being into strength or same sectors moving from weakness into strength, and then you trade. So that's how you can combine two two different reports from us, right? Guys, the link has been put up by Aditya in the chat. Also, if you go to our YouTube live after, which is there on the internet after this WebEx is the web's webinar is closed down, you could search for the webinar wherein this moving average distribution report has been covered, and there you will surely find a link. Right, Aditya, if I'm not mistaken? Right. Anup, okay. Anup had a question which says which sector map outperform the Nifty in the next 1 or 2 year time frame? Anup, very valid question. You could look out for the space. We're coming up with something on these lines as well. Guys, any more questions?
Okay, looks like we don't have any more queries. So,
So, guys,
Aditya,
on behalf of
yeah,
Access Securities and my team, we thank you for taking time out. Okay, please look into our spaces. Go to our website. There are a lot of such reports, technical as being put up. A lot of reports being put up. Okay, that is for to empower you with the information to help you take your decisions without any fear or any bias. Do visit the website, do look out for the webinars, do look out for mailers that you would get. At the same time, you could also go into our social media handle that's there on Twitter and LinkedIn. We come up with certain small market information, small market snippets, which is posted on the social media as well.
so thank you all for joining us. See you all in the next webinar, and hope today's webinar will help you read the upcoming turn of the month report a bit better. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out today.
Thank you, guys.